Hi, my name is Varun Dotlani. I am the chef of Mask Restaurant and Bar Paradox in Mumbai. Let's go. So today I'm making biryani. My goals are to be the best restaurant in the world. At Mask, we're basically trying to cook modern Indian food, where we're trying to redefine what Indian food is, highlight the tradition, the culture, and the people of India, but in our own kind of way. The biryani and the dum cooking that we're going to highlight today, it was created in Lucknow. The Mughal Empire had a large number of people to feed. So they essentially put rice, meat, spices, herbs, onions, everything into one pot, sealed it and let it cook low and slow, which was an easy way to feed a large crowd. But now I think biryani has become an essential part of India, where every culture, different regions have their own version. Now it's more than just meat and rice. Now it's been associated with a celebration, wedding meals, good times. People kind of have nostalgic moments when they eat biryani, considered almost like royalty now. It's a big part of all of our lives, something that everybody loves. First we'll start cooking the meat. So I'm going to take a little bit of ghee, a few whole spices, cardamom, little clove, mace, black pepper and bay leaf. And we want these to toast. While those are toasting, we also need to add a little ginger garlic paste. We'll also add the onions to caramelize. To low heat. Right now I'm just adding salt to make the onions sweat. But you add salt at every stage, right? So we have some salt here, we have some salt in the meat, which is goat. That's been marinated with a lot of spices. So you have meat masala, biryani masala, you have fried onion, you have yogurt, you have lots of herbs. So we have to layer the spices and the flavors. Once the onions are caramelized, we will start adding the meat. I also want to add some water at this point, just so that the pan at the bottom doesn't burn and we get even color. So now once the water absorbs, the onions will start cooking again. While the onions keep caramelizing, we're going to start par cooking the rice. When I was a kid, I started watching a lot of like TV shows on cooking, on travel, on food from different parts of the world. And what excited me was, as a kid, I used to experiment a little bit in the kitchen, try mixing and matching things, creating havoc. The idea was that I used to use a lot of plates, a lot of equipment, a lot of like things, and make a mess that my mom was not a big fan of, because then she had to get it clean. But it kind of built my interest. I used to like throw some shit in a blender and try making different milkshakes. That's where the interest started building, and now it's become a profession. So I have just some water here. There's no quantity because we're boiling the rice. So you just need more water than rice, where all the rice is submerged in the water. We're not using the absorption method, we're just boiling it. So in that, just to flavor the rice, I'm going to add some salt and whole spices. So mace, this is patthar ka phool or stone flower, some star anise. Let's go. This is just going to flavor the rice. It's not going to end up in the thing. So some cardamom and black pepper. On TV and all, on social media, being a chef feels very glamorous. But it's not only glamour. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it. There's long shifts. It has its moments, but a lot of like work that you need to put into it also.
What's the hardest part about being a chef?
Not being able to be home on a Sunday. No Diwali, no birthday, no New Year. I mean, holidays are there, but it's not on the day where the rest of the world has holidays. We only get to take holidays when the rest of the world is either busy or not celebrating, because when there's a celebration and the rest of the world goes out to restaurants, we have to be working. I first started interning when I was 17 at this hotel called Intercontinental Marine Drive. From there, I went to college in Hyderabad, in New York. I interned at a few places there. I've been at Mask for the last 9 years now. So now that the water is boiling, we're going to take basmati rice that was soaked and put it all in there to boil. So essentially what we want to do is cook the rice about 80% of the way, not 100. So when we layer it and finish cooking in the dum, it cooks the rest of the way. But this step also needs to happen like maybe one day before, because after it cooks, you want to spread it out and dry it. If it's wet, the biryani will get diluted. So you always want your rice to be dry when you're making the biryani and not wet. So the idea is once it par cooks, you remove it and you cool it down. So it's always best to cook the rice one day before. While this is happening, our onions have also caramelized. Now I can add the meat to that. So like I said, this was the marinated meat. Now that our onions have caramelized, we're going to add this, and we want all of that masala. Let's wait for this to cook a little bit so it changes color. It'll become darker, right? Because the yogurt and all will start cooking, the masalas will start cooking.
What's the most misunderstood thing about Indian cuisine?
That it's always spicy. You know, the idea that we put a lot of spices in our food for flavor has been misunderstood by the world, that it's only chili. But the art of blending spices and bringing flavor out of everything and not just chili is what has been misunderstood about Indian food.
What's one thing you'd like the world to know about Indian cuisine?
That it's not just curries, number one, because we have very few curries in our cuisine, but our food around the world has been categorized as curry. It's also luxury. It's as good as any cuisine, like even French food, for royalty, having different traditions, so much. And also that the Indian food is only categorized as one, butter chicken and all of that. But like with the amount of cultures and traditions and regions we have in India, we have 28 many different cuisines put together and not just one cuisine. The most obvious ones are Lucknowi, Hyderabadi, Bengali, Gujarati, Marwadi. Every region, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, everyone has their own, right? I can show you the rice is almost done. We're going to put it off and see where the rice is par cooked. It's still not 100% cooked. You can see still a little bit of raw in the center. So what we're going to do now is strain this, get rid of all the water, pick out all the whole spices because that's not what we want in our biryani, and then cool the rice. I'm just going to add a little water to this. So the meat's almost starting to cook. If you look closely, you can see the oil, the ghee separating. That's always a good sign. That's basically saying that your spices are cooked, they're not raw anymore. We're just going to wait for all this liquid to kind of thicken out, get absorbed by the meat, and for the meat to become tender. And then once that's done, we have to obviously cool it down again and then start building the biryani. When you're layering the biryani, rather, everything should be cold and not really hot. When we start doing the dum process, everything will kind of start steaming together, cooking together, and that's when your flavors will develop and layer. Once this is cooked, it'll become much darker because it'll concentrate, and like I said, your meat will be fork tender. This is everything we need to kind of layer the biryani and finish. We have the meat that's obviously cooked, cooled down, and you see the color difference when it was half cooked and when it's completely cooked now. We have the rice that's been cooked, cooled overnight in the fridge, so now it's nice and dry. You have fried onions, you have herbs, so you have fresh coriander, fresh mint, kevda water, which is essentially pandan essence, a mixture of saffron and some cream, and then this is the dough that's going to be used for the dum process, and then this is the pot that we're going to use to layer our biryani. It's a very traditional pot called handi or dekchi, in which the biryani used to be made. So now we're going to start layering the meat. For the first layer, I just want a lot of the masala and not really the meat, because I'm going to create like a base which is going to get the direct heat. So I just want to kind of form the bottom of the pot. It's kind of a lining almost. So I have a nice base going. Now I'm going to put the first layer of rice. What you also want to make sure is that your rice is evenly distributed. So I'm kind of evenly just distributing the rice. At this point, I want to put a little bit of the saffron mix in the rice, and you just want to drizzle, because Main thing about a biryani also is that you want the rice also to be of different colors when it's done. So every part which has the saffron is going to be more yellow. At this point I'll put some fried onions, and you need to use this same pot. You can use any pot that you have at home. Some herbs. This is just a traditional one that I like cooking biryani in, but you can switch it for anything else. A little bit of the kevda or pandan essence. Now main layer of meat. So you catch nice big pieces of chunks of meat and kind of layer them in. So now I'm just gonna again make sure it's even, spread it out, and now we get to build again. So more rice, saffron mixture. Before I put the fried onion and the herbs, I'm gonna put a little bit more of the masala and the meat, but not too much. And then now I'm gonna put all the herbs and the fried onion. At this point I'll also just put a little more of the essence, because when it opens you want that whole aroma to come. Now that the layering is done, we're gonna seal it. We're gonna use this as a lid, but you see all these gaps. The whole idea of dum cooking, which was invented in Lucknow and in Awadhi cuisine, was you don't want any of the steam to escape through these gaps, but rather stay inside and kind of marry that flavor inside. So that's when dum was created. What we're going to essentially do is use this dough to seal this and keep all the steam and flavors inside. This one you're not going to actually eat, so it doesn't really matter the recipe, the salt or anything. You just need a dough that can kind of seal it. We just roll it out thin, and what we're essentially going to do is like put it here and stick it. So you want enough of it to come off the rim, so when we put the lid it kind of sticks to the lid. Now put this and then use the excess dough to kind of seal in the gaps. If you need more, take some more and put it up. Kind of make sure to have no gaps. A wet hand and you kind of seal it again so it sticks and then there's no gaps. This one is just basically water and flour. Like I said, because we're not eating it, it doesn't matter. As long as you have a dough, it can be made with anything you want, because you're not going to eat it. You're only using it to seal. Okay. So now our biryani is layered. I'm going to cook it on charcoal, a little bit at the bottom and a little bit on top, but you can essentially cook it however you like, as long as it gets not too strong but a low medium heat. It's okay. So this can go into the oven on the gas range. I like to cook it over charcoal because we have this available, but like I said, anything will work. You don't want a very strong heat, you want a very low and medium heat. So we're going to just have almost like a small bed of ashes right here, not too much, and we're going to place our dum dekchi right above it. Don't ask me why it's called dum. That you have to ask people in Lucknow, not me. We need mild heat from top also, so just a few pieces of charcoal on top. It's going to cook low and slow, take about half an hour, and it's good to go. The idea is that like you want the steam to come in, you want it to kind of start steaming inside. It's all about layering the flavors, kind of everybody meeting and gelling, getting to know each other, the rice, the fried onions, the herbs, the meat, the masala. So it's going to take a little bit of time. The slower, the better. Biryani is not something that gets cooked very quickly. It's a long process because the rice, like we said, the meat all has to be pre-cooked. Then it has to be layered, cooled down, layered, and then cooked in the dum process again.
Do you think Michelin will eventually come to India?
I mean, there are lots of rumors that Michelin is coming to India. I hope they come soon because, like I said, I've always wanted to be a chef, and Michelin was one thing that we looked at while growing up, while wanting to be a chef. So hopefully soon. A lot of chefs that I follow that I take inspiration from: Farhan Adria from Elbury, Matt Orlando, Rasmus Monk. We're always experimenting, right? We have a space called Mask Lab. That's a flavor lab. That's our R&D space. New flavors, new dishes, new recipes. Yeah. So our biryani is almost ready. We're gonna open this up. You can already see the steam coming out. You see the herbs, everything is steaming, it's all in. The rice has been colored like I was saying. The meat is steaming. Let's just portion it out. There you go.